Today I don't have much to say, and so I'll open my notes, and there is a page dedicated for how to study. So in this, I have written like there is no best way to learn like auditory, video, or text format. One can learn from anything. It depends upon the person how well he learns from like what are the what are his uh, feasible way of learning. So first, see there are total there are 8 steps or 8 things. So the first is sleeping well, because when you sleep well, there are release of neurochemicals like epinephrine, acetylcholine, acetylcholine, and so what it does is it increases your awareness in the brain and the neuroplasticity, so that there is a much more retention of the thoughts, and it increases overall learning. And the second is meditation, because meditation increases the focus. And the third is schedule your study time, because when you schedule your study time, the brain automatically get aware and increases the focus. Because when you have a fixed time in the day when you study, like from 12 to 4, and then what basically happens is in the long term your brain adapts to that, and it is more effective and and more productive at that time of the day. And the fourth step, which is one of the best and which I follow regularly and I love to do, is teaching others. And because teaching peers develop mastery, because the more you wake up, the more you edu edu So the fifth is motivation for the study. Like the research shows like why are some students less motivated, and why don't they study, and some are so motivated always and they study for long hours and hours. The thing is the long term motivation, like why do you study, you need to specify that what is the motivation for you. If someone has a motivation for him, like he want I want to get this, I want to get rich, and something like that, I'm not you know saying it's not good. But the fact is, if you do something for yourself, and your motivation is everything about you, then there are less chances of you getting motivated for time. And when you dedicate your um, efforts and everything for a greater motive and greater self, like for parents, for country, for anything else, then there is a high chance for you getting motivated in learning. And the sixth is study challenging material, because when you put efforts in the journey of putting efforts, you start learning, you start loving the efforts and the pain, and there are release of some neurochemicals like dopamine, like in the efforts the dopamine will release and you will start loving the pain, like David Goggins famous example. So the key point of today, the you know best thing, like whatever I told you was normal, like it's just generic knowledge, but the best thing which I will now I'm going to tell you is testing. Like there is a study between 3 groups. First is first group, what they did is they studied one topic, then studied, like they studied 5 times, and then they gave the test, and then they gave the final test. This was the first. The second was a group with which they studied, and then they test, then their final test. And the third one was they studied and they test, and then they gave the final test. And the result was shocking. because the people actually gave the most, like the third group, they excelled more and the average score was more. So the thing is, uh, focus more on practicing questions and solving rather than just making your knowledge perfect, like learning everything. Start with solve with more number of questions and just after the learning. As soon as you learn, do the questions. The sixth, the eighth is gap movement and method. Like between your study time, take a 5 minute break and 10, 20. It could be anything, just a little break, and it can improve the efficiency by 5 times.